Okay, another section is when we talk about the fire alarm systems. What we want to do is we talk about the alarm panels, the smoke heads, to make sure those are properly installed in working conditions. We want to make sure that these are tested annually as well by a certified agency that comes in and they do sensitivity tests on your smoke alarms to make sure they're in proper range, as well as review your histories within your alarm panel, as well as to make sure it's properly identification, depending on how large your facility is, in what zones and what they cover, and you want to make sure that you address any trouble issues as they come through. And these alarm systems will be monitored by a third-party vendor so that they're monitored 24 hours a day, so that they initially call 911 when an alarm comes through, so that early response is put in place by your emergency response personnel. So you want to make sure all those are in place. They won't be properly identified. You will have that paperwork that's given to you by the third-party vendor when they come out and do those, and the facility they will be maintained at the facility, and we will check those paperworks to make sure that they've been cleared for any deficiencies within the system. Another thing you want to be particularly aware of is when you have remodeling work or someone coming in that may create a little fume or dust from cleaning. Sometimes they place a cover over your smoke heads to make sure that they don't get an incidental alarm. These smoke covers are little covers that look like this here. You want to make sure that those are in place when you have those situations go on, so that we don't get unintentional notification to respond to your location. But the main thing is to remember to remove those once that operation is complete in those areas, to put the system back into proper working condition, because once these are left in place, it reduces the ability for the smoke head to operate properly. So you want to make sure that these are removed once that area has been cleared and put back in safe condition, so that the smoke head can do the job it was designed for. All right, another section is your sprinkler fire protection systems. You'll have a riser room located within your facility. They'll be in various locations, so you'll need to know those locations, make sure they're properly identified so that they're easily accessed. You want to make sure that these are tested and maintained yearly by a third-party vendor. There's other things that, from a owner-occupant standpoint, that you also do is just to need to make sure that you kind of walk around and visibly look at your sprinkler heads to make sure they're not obstructed by anything that may be hanging in the facility, as well as if you do some remodeling and so forth, that these haven't been painted, which will create a problem with those being able to be set off, because those are heat released type heads. So you want to make sure that all your valves are in proper condition and easily accessed, and make sure that those are locked so that they cannot be tampered with. And most facilities that have sprinkler system, alarm systems, those are tied into your alarm system, so that if you do have a malfunction with those, those will be shown in either supervisor alarm to your alarm panel, or complete activation, depending on how the system is set up. So you want to make sure that these are properly inspected and your tags are visible, so that when the inspector comes and looks at those areas, that they can see that and be able to put the date in those locations, so that those are filled in at the proper location. The other fire protection category of fire protection systems that we're really concerned about is our hood commercial cooking systems. The components with that are made up with an extinguishing system to help assist with placing the fires out with our grease fires, as well as how we maintain those from cleanliness, as well as to make sure the proper coverage is with your Ansel system is spaced properly. Your cylinders are tested, as well as the system tested yearly. So we'll look at those components, as well as the Class K fire extinguisher that's supposed to be placed within these within the 20-foot range of your cooking equipment. Now when we look at it, you'll see that the hood system is tagged for being cleansed, and that has to be done at least semi-annually, but depending on your type of cooking, it could require that to be done quarterly, especially when we look at your Japanese, Chinese cooking areas that use a lot of heavy grease. Those should be cleaned quarterly. Most other facilities is semi-annually. And then your other facilities that are just probably used minimal, just a couple of times a year, then those have to be cleaned at least once a year. So you'll see the tag on the side, which is a separate tag from having your Ansul system checked. There's two separate procedures. And your tag for your Ansul system you'll see on the auxiliary pull stations to assist if someone notices a fire and the Ansul system hasn't went off, they can pull that pin and it'll set the system off. Another thing you are to be aware of, depending on what kind of cooking equipment you've got placed on your hood and Ansul protection system, is that these nozzles are spaced properly for correct coverage over your cooking areas of your griddle, deep fryers, etc. So if these are the type that can move, be moved to clean behind, etc., then those should be marked so that when you place those back in the proper area. If they're not marked, then you should not move them, because then you will get improper coverage if you place them in the wrong place once you put them back. Could lead to devastating fire loss as well as injuries to your employees. So make sure that you follow all the procedures when it comes to cleaning those just from a daily operation, but make sure that these hood systems are cleaned at least semi-annually, quarterly if you have heavy cooking, and make sure the Ansul system is properly tested annually with those third-party vendors that have been certified through the state of Tennessee. And you will see these locations as well as what we're talking about with proper coverage with your hood systems. The Class K fire extinguisher is a unique extinguisher that is made for commercial cooking. You'll see its placement here in the kitchen area, and that's generally where it's required. It has a different operating procedure when it comes to what it's used to protect. It is made for grease type fires, with your typical of the fire extinguishers that we'll see later on in the other aspects of the categories. But this is a Class K that you'll see. It's a special extinguisher made for commercial cooking. Category of portable fire extinguishers pretty much is our first line of defense in some cases when it comes to small fires. Employees should be trained and well versed if they're required to use the portable fire extinguishers, so that they're aware of how to maintain those in their work areas as well as utilize those with the portable fire extinguishers. Generally, your type ABC portable fire extinguishers are placed within 75 feet throughout the building so that you can be reached from any location you are. They also should be tested and serviced by a third-party vendor that's licensed through the state of Tennessee to have those do those annual inspections on the portable fire extinguishers. Again, most of the types are your type ABC or your carbon dioxide type fire extinguishers, your CO2s, and the fact that those are the types you generally see in locations. Again, 75 feet for your ordinary combustibles. If you have flammable liquid locations, those should be placed to where you can reach those within 50 feet. Again, we'll give you an example of what they look like. They should be all mounted in their proper locations, well marked so that they're visible, not obstructed, so that employees, patriots can get to those to utilize those. And if they see a small fire and have been trained and feel comfortable in using those fire extinguishers without any danger to themselves or other employees.